Hello, everyone. I think I'm going live. How are you? I'm waiting for Cody to text me to tell me this is working. I am so excited that you are here. Oh, hey, Cody. Hello. How are you? Hey, everybody. How's it going? I think we have 5 people watching right now. Tell me where you're watching from. Please leave me a comment. I live in Massachusetts. If you are also in New England, let me know. How this will be a shorter live, probably about 30, 45 minutes. I tend to go a little bit over sometimes when I get excited and if there are a bunch of questions, but really this is your time to ask me any questions you want about selling on Etsy, about selling off Etsy, what trends I'm seeing in the market, what I'm seeing from other business owners, 6, 7-figure business owners. This is your time to ask any questions you want. So, how this is going to work today, I'm going to take some Q&A. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about some broad concepts. Then I'll do a little bit of a Q&A. At any point, you can stop me and ask any question that you want to in the chat. And even if I'm talking about something else, I'll come back and revisit it later. So this is really your time to ask me anything you want. Hey, Cynthia. Hello, Melissa. Thanks for joining. Please excuse the Amazon box in the background. I am getting an upgraded YouTube studio really soon, and I'm so excited about it. I cannot wait. But until then, I am here in the basement, which is also secretly my kids' playroom, and it's a nice little combo. But I have some fun things to share with you all today. And first, I just wanted to say that in the mail, I got my 100 Sales Club gift. We have a new gift for those of you that reach 100 sales on Etsy with us who are in the ePrintables VIP group. This is a planner from Erin Condren, and it has your name on it, Gold City Ventures. And then in it has a bunch of stuff like goal stuff. It has habit tracking. It's pretty legit. Action steps, all this stuff. So for those of you that have not hit 100 sales yet, look out. This awesome gift is coming your way really soon. And for those of you that were already in our 100 Sales Club and you already got our previous gift, we're going to be giving out this new gift in our new community Beyond when you reach a certain level with us and beyond. I think it's level 6. So you will be at one coming your way too very soon. All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. Looks like we have a bunch of people joining right now. So to quickly kind of recap, this is a live Q&A session where you can ask me anything that you want to about selling on Etsy, about selling off Etsy, about blogging, about what's trending, anything you want to know about being an entrepreneur. I'm here to help you. If you want to talk about your specific situation, maybe you sell religious printables for daycare providers or homeschoolers or whatever you sell, I'm here to answer. So let me know, leave comments in the chat. I'm more than happy to help. But first, I will say one thing. The purpose of this live stream today is to talk a little bit about selling off Etsy and the importance of building your ecosystem, not just on Etsy, but having traffic sources that are coming from other places, maybe higher priced products. And we're going to walk you through how to do that in our Beyond program. And if you buy before the end of this live in an hour, you get the UGC package, an entry to win that. And for anyone who doesn't know, and this is helpful even if you're not ready for Beyond, Gold City Ventures and others have started to use these professional photographers who will print out your printables, or let's say that you just sell handmade, you ship your products to their house and they will film it in the context of seasonal printables or whatever. So for example, for Christmas, we wanted to do some new Facebook ads and we sent them our seasonal printables that had to do with Christmas, and they printed out the printables at their house. They filmed them with confetti and next to a Christmas tree and showing the products actually in use, which was really huge. And then we got a whole bunch of content back that we could use for listing images on Etsy. We could use it for listing images, Facebook ads, Instagram reels, and it looked 100 times better than anything that I would ever shoot myself. So we're going to be giving away we have 2 favorite UGC creators. We're going to be giving away a package from one of them to somebody who signs up for Beyond by the end of this live. And Cody, if you are in the chat still, if you could put the link to Beyond, that would be great. Otherwise, I can grab it. But anywho, I want to give you guys this time to ask any questions. So does anyone want to be the first person to kick off the Q&A session and leave a question in the chat? If not, I have a couple questions queued up that I can start with. I'll give you guys a minute to check that out and see. All right. We're going to start with one of the questions that we got previously. So somebody mentioned, how do I balance creating new products for my Etsy shop, for those of you that sell printables, and also working on other stuff like email, like creating landing pages, like Shopify stores, all of that. It can seem overwhelming and you can have shiny object syndrome. So here is where I think the difference between I want to be an Etsy seller and I want to be a larger business owner. And just to clarify, for selling on Etsy, I think a really good goal is to get to around $1,000 per month in sales. When you want to build a business off Etsy, you have the potential to, in our opinion, and we've seen it happen more often, have an opinion to make more money. And the reason is that you're not only bringing in traffic from Etsy, you're bringing in traffic from other revenue sources. So you're kind of getting the full gamut of exposure of your products. You're also collecting the customer's email address through these methods, and you are eliminating other options that they might have in some ways. Whereas when they come and find you on Etsy, as you all know, Etsy likes to recommend related products after viewing your product, which is totally fine. And if those of you haven't started an Etsy shop yet, you might be freaked out hearing this. It's not. You can still have a good business on Etsy. But if you want to create your own lasting brand ecosystem, you want to diversify, have multiple income streams, you probably want to make a full-time income. I think it's going to require other income streams. And you may have heard the phrase that it takes 7 or 8 income streams for the average millionaire. And I think that's really true. Both Cody and I come from the financial independence world. For those of you who have followed us for a while, you may know that we had our respective financial independence podcasts where we were trying to save $1 million so that we could retire early in our 30s. And in order to do that, it's more than just having one online business. The two of us have multiple online businesses in many different ventures, not just Gold City Ventures, not just our own. We had personal finance blogs, podcasts. Cody had a disc golf company. We also own an agency. We got a bunch of things. Cody has real estate. We got a bunch of things going on. All of that can be a little distracting though. But with printables, you can take your printables business on Etsy and you can somewhat easily, it's going to take a little bit of work, but you could somewhat easily develop it into a bigger ecosystem over time. So how would someone do that? If those of you have watched the last couple podcast episodes we've put out, we had a couple people that kind of gave their example, and I'm going to summarize one. So we have Kennedy, who is a handmade seller that sells crochet kits on Etsy. She would like to build a bigger business. What we are helping her do is do competitive analysis to see who is doing this full time that doesn't just have an Etsy shop, that also has a larger ecosystem. And there's a larger competitor, the Woobles, who are selling these super cute kits that are not quite like Kennedy's, are a little bit different, but they're selling them through blogging, through Facebook ads, and through social media, all things that she can do. And she could come in and create her own platforms and somewhat easily slide right in to be a competitor of theirs. It's a little bit different. So all of this stuff is really custom depending on what you're selling. That's why if you're watching right now, I would love for you to tell me in the chat what niche you sell in. And if you do not sell in a niche, then that's okay. Just put seasonal printables, or if you sell printables and physical products. But that would really help me guide this conversation today, so I can make sure that I kind of cover the right advice for all of you. So please just put it in the chat if you wouldn't mind. But I'm going to explain this from the process of someone that came through the Gold City Ventures ePrintable course, and they sell a bunch of stuff. So let's say that you took the ePrintables course and you sell seasonal printables. You sell Christmas, Hanukkah, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day. You just passed Easter. Now you're looking at graduation. It's typical how we take you through the ePrintables program. Now you're wondering, how do I turn that income stream into a larger business? Well, the first thing that we have you do, and this is what we have you do and beyond, is that we have a series of 4 Google Docs strategy templates where we help you figure out who your target customer is. And typically for some of you, if you're anything like me and the rest of the people I've seen go through our programs, is that not all of your stuff sells. It's like 20% of your stuff sells. And that can give you a good indicator of a potential niche and direction that you go into. And this is a little different. When we teach people going through VIP ePrintables, we tell you sell everything under the sun and see what sticks. If you are trying to build a full-time business off of Etsy, you want to niche down. It doesn't matter before. When you're on Etsy, you're trying to get traction, you're trying to get attention, you're trying to get to that $1,000 a month income goal. But once you're creating a blog, once you're creating a social media account, you might do that. You definitely want to be categorized in a niche. It makes Google understand who you are so much more, and that will make driving traffic and getting a bigger business 100 times easier. So in that situation, if you sell seasonally, I would take a look at and see what is selling out of your stuff. And we walk you through that exercise. The next thing that we would do in the Beyond program, and this is all it's in a Google template where we have you answer questions to figure this out. And then you submit it to us and we audit it to make sure that you are thinking about it in the right way. Everyone gets their own custom audit automatically if you just join. The next thing we'd say is, do you have some sort of professional background that you can lean on? So, for example, we'll have people join and they might be a realtor, or we'll have someone join and they're a speech language pathologist, or maybe they are a homeschool mom and they're in the Christian faith and that's they have a thing, or maybe they're a hobbyist and they're a quilter. If you have something that you're like really into, even if it has nothing to do with online business, you probably will have a good sense of what the target customer in that niche is looking for. And that's like a really good thing to lean into. So we ask you about that too. And then third, we say, hey, is there anything that you're super, super passionate about? Maybe you don't have a professional background or a hobby background in this. Maybe you're not getting any traction here, but you just love talking about one particular thing. Can't stop talking about it. You love it just so, so much. Then that could be the passion play where you lean into that niche. So the whole purpose of this is to take somebody that is selling in a bunch of different directions, that's spread in a bunch of different directions, but then how do we get you to focus on one particular thing? Because we're going to take that one particular thing, and then as you start moving through building this bigger business, it is going to make a lot more sense to you on what you should do next. So for example, let's say in the case of the homeschool mom that you're in the Christian faith and you've been homeschooling your kids for 10 years or whatever. That now anytime you make a new product on Etsy, because that's the competition, it's like, do I make new products or do I spend time learning all this other stuff? It's going to be focused. Everything you create, okay, well, look at my existing product line. Do I have enough pillar pieces of products that are going to appeal to that new niche target customer that I'm talking about? And if you look at your product suite and you don't have 4 products that all of your competitors that are selling in this particular niche have, and you don't have like anchor products, you're going to know what your next step should be in terms of product creation. If you aren't thinking about it this way, you're just kind of creating a million products, which is fine in the beginning stages. We're talking about in this live stream, and particularly in the new program Beyond, it's how are you moving beyond what we're teaching you VIP principles to, okay, I'm going to build a diversified business. So we have someone here, Melissa, that says she's going to talk about book subscription boxes. Okay, I'm awesome. Thank you for giving me a target here because we're going to lean in on that. So Melissa, tell me particularly what niche, with everything I just said, what niche kind of appeals to you? Is it a passion? Is it something that you have a professional or hobby background in? Or are you just getting a lot of traction in a certain area? That's going to help me with your subscription box. But I'm going to give an example. It's going to come out in the podcast next week. I'll talk about Naomi, who's in our group. She sells in the homeschool Christian faith subscription box. So in Beyond, we teach you how to technically set up a subscription box, and then we teach you how to figure out how to make a box that will actually sell. And technically, there are a bunch of ways that you can create a subscription box. You could use Shopify. You could use StanStore. There's companies that allow you to Thrivecart, companies that allow you to set up subscriptions. But it's not just the process of setting up the subscription. It's like, how do I create one that people are actually going to buy? How do I get traffic to it? If I'm not selling on Etsy, where do I get those eyeballs to even know that I even have this product? And how do I decide what to put in the boxes? Well, let's say that I don't know if you're a handmade seller. If you are, let me know. That's totally fine too. But let's say that you sell in the printables niche. The first thing that you're going to do is what I mentioned, the niche thing, so you can get super clear on your target customer. Who is buying the subscription box and what do they want and why? You want to sell them a box because, hey, how cool would it be to have a customer for 12 months of the calendar year? But like, why do they need 12 months of your stuff? Can you take your target buyer and map out for the whole calendar year what they're going to want? And those of us coming from the Gold City Ventures previous courses, you guys know that you always align to the whole calendar year. So you'll know, hey, holidays, special events. If we're in the religious niche, you'll understand what are the particular big events for a certain religion throughout the whole calendar year. And then maybe you'll say, okay, the box for March is the Easter box. And the target customer is a Sunday school teacher who is going to want new curriculum for all the kids for Sunday school. But she's not crafty like those of us that have a printer and we do digital downloads. She just wants it printed out and shipped to her house. And she wants it like collated in some type of binder where she can flip through it. And then she wants stuff that she can pass out to the kids. And then she wants like a couple crafts that, they use scissors and some directions on how to do it or whatever. I'm making this up, but that's kind of the idea. It's like thinking of who my target customer is and then what would they want for 12 months out of the whole calendar year. And then technically, okay, so now you have this great idea. You're going to have to figure out to get a printer of a certain quality to print the things, or you could deliver it digitally if you wanted to. But let's say, you're going to go through the process of printer. We'll help you do that. We know people that do this. Now it's, okay, now I technically have to set that up. I have to rebill the customer every month. If they dispute the credit card charge, all the stuff, technical jargon, we got you. That's in Beyond. So we could take everywhere from coming up with the niche all the way through. And we have 7 assignments so that you don't go off track. Because I know if you are just coming out of the, hey, I want to sell everything under the sun, I want to learn everything under the sun, we need to take you on a journey through this whole process step by step. And that's what we're going to do. So I kind of just like rushed through, Melissa, on how I would do it with subscription, but let me know what particular subscription you sell, because that would be helpful. Okay, you are a librarian who has a passion for books, so career and passion. Okay, so you just hit 2 out of my 3 things, so that's awesome. Okay, so Melissa, you're a librarian. So you may notice this, and by the way, those of you that have been through ePrintables, you know how to data mine Etsy using eRank and other tools, how to filter for bestsellers, etc. You will notice, Melissa, that there's a date with a book that is a new thing. So if you haven't, Google this, date with a book. And this is it's a giftable thing. It is kind of a subscription thing. People probably shouldn't be selling this on Etsy, but it doesn't matter whether or not they should be selling this on Etsy. We're talking about you building this business off Etsy. So it's using Etsy to understand what is trending. And then you're going to go and build that off Etsy so that you can target customers through blogging, social media, and you can own the relationship with them. And I'm going to get into that later, specifically what I'm talking about there, because that might be a whole different thing. But date with a book is basically, let's say that you wanted to gift a friend a book, but you don't have to pick what the book is. You would tell this person on Etsy some information about them, and then they're going to gift your friend a new book. Now, Etsy, technically, with their handmade policy, they allow, like, for example, for those of you who've ever attended a baby shower, a popular gift is a diaper tree, where you're taking diapers and you're like rearranging it in an artistic format, and then someone can buy the diaper tree. Etsy allows that, where you stick things together to make something new. They don't really allow subscription boxes where they're not handmade items and you're just like sticking stuff together and calling it like, oh, here's a new mom gift or whatever. So I'm telling you that in case you're like, oh, I'm going to make like a library, a book gift box. The people that are doing this, the ones I saw, they were pretty artistic, and they had like a cute little bookmark with it, and they had the book, and it was all wrapped up in paper, and it was like very pretty. It photographed really well, and I could see why someone would want to gift this to a friend or even sign up for a subscription themselves. Some of them were subscriptions. But the whole point is that these are bestsellers on Etsy. Like, there's a demand for this. Now you're going to build that business off of Etsy. And you are going to decide. Now, in Beyond, we teach you beyond the target customer. You're going to go down and be like, okay, I'm a librarian. Here's what I'm seeing in my real life. We teach you ways to data mine, like we do eRank for ePrintables. We teach you how to do that on TikTok and Insta. I know that most of you do not want to post on either of those platforms. That's okay. But it doesn't mean that those aren't great data tools. Because if I see other people posting mystery gift box book thing and they get 1 million views, that's really good validation that your idea is a good idea. So we're going to teach you how to take the data mining those tools for your particular niche and your particular background. And then what do you have to do next? Well, we think that you need to decide what traffic source you're going to have, because you no longer have Etsy anymore. So for some of you that have larger Etsy shops, actually, it's going to be a little easier for you. You can set up the email collection from Etsy and start moving people over. But still, let's say that you want to build a full-time income business. That's going to be really hard if you're only collecting the scraps of kind of what you're getting from Etsy. You're going to have to get a traffic source off of Etsy. What you may not know about me is that I have a 6-figure business separate from Gold City Ventures and Etsy Printables. It's a personal finance blog that has nothing to do with Gold City Ventures and Printables. I've had that since 2015. So developing the organic traffic strategy of figuring out what to write to bring organic blog traffic is something that I'm good at. And Cody also has the same knowledge, but also in the podcasting space. So we're going to teach you here. And for those of you that are really old Gold City Ventures fans, you will remember we had a course, Blogging for Profit. We took the concepts in that course and we redid everything for 2024 strategy, how we're still making money with our blogs. And we're going to bring that to your idea. So if you don't want to use social as a traffic driver, you're going to use a blog. So maybe for you, you're going to see, for the case of the subscription box, you're going to figure out everything about the target customer who's buying that and then what they're searching for. And then you're going to create pillar blog content that makes sense to attract that person. And then they're going to sign up for your email list, whatever the freebie is. We're going to tell you, there's going to be checkpoints where we tell you if your freebie idea is a good idea or not. You can post on the wall at any time, but we have audits so that you're kind of keep going on track and beyond. And then you're gonna create that landing page, that freebie, and then they're gonna sign up for that. And then you're gonna pitch them your product once they're on your email list. So we take you through. Now, we also have an option if you're like, oh, actually, I don't mind social media. I don't want to be the face. If you want to be the face, that's even better. If you're like, I want nothing to do with this, but I will film my hands, or I'm willing to hire, like I mentioned earlier, for anyone that joins Beyond by the end of this at 1 p.m. If you join then, and I should link to it here. Sorry, guys, I'm totally taking you down a journey here, but I want to get the, here we go. Okay, I'm putting this in the chat. If you guys join Beyond by 1 p.m., you're going to get entry into the ability to win a photography package, which is what we use and what I would suggest. So for you, Melissa, it's perhaps you are crazy good with the iPhone and you do amazing iPhone videos, but it's very possible that you're like the rest of us where your hands shake and that sounds stressful. You can pay somebody to just, you would ship them whatever your product is. If you sell physical product, if it's a printable product, they just print it out at their house and they film themselves in a studio with all this stuff to make it look good in the background. They film it for you and then they just give you the content. And we are going to pay for somebody who buys Beyond before 1 p.m. to get all of this professionally shot for their products. And if you think your products aren't good enough yet, I promise you, we'll tell you and we'll help you get there so that you can take advantage of this photography package because it's going to make your life so much easier. And once you do this, you're like, oh, why do I like stress about this? I could just pay somebody to film my products. Now you can definitely film them yourself. And I mean, all you need is open a window, good light, and an iPhone. And that's what I did for the majority of times where I was getting like thousands of clicks from Pinterest to my products. It was just my hand filling out a coloring page and I was filming my printable products. But it's something that you can just hire out too. So anyways, your mystery date in a box is going to be professionally filmed. That's where I'm going with this. And then if you want to drive traffic from social, perhaps you could post some of these professionally shot videos, or you can do them yourself. And we teach you how to find the right keywords on social to kind of have them go viral or be very searchable, kind of like we do on Etsy, where if someone's searching best gift, I mean, obviously best gift for a librarian, but that market's going to be pretty niche, right? It would be like best gift for your friend who's a book lover, or like best, Mother's Day gift for mom who's a book lover, or like summer beach reads for mom, or you can imagine like overlaying it to the seasonal calendar of what people want. And then, maybe you get them to buy a book and then you upsell the subscription. And here you go. Now you have monthly recurring revenue coming from your customers. And on your end, you are just purchasing the books in bulk and you're packaging them up. And you're probably, Book of the Month Club is like a giant version of this, right? But like Etsy, small business owners, we could be a little sub niche version of that. Now, I gave Melissa a physical product example, but I have seen these subscriptions for printables. Like I get crazy ads for them. I think I am in the niche I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And I think the 4-year-old is in that niche where like we're getting tons of stuff marketed to us on Facebook, but one thing that I was seeing that I'm like, oh, this is such a genius idea. I wish I had time for it. I was seeing Santa Claus stuff. And I'm like, oh, my daughter loves talking to Santa. How cool would it be? And Santa sending that stuff out. So you can imagine there's tons of potential in this subscription stuff. I'm in another business membership. I mentioned this. I'm in a business membership where you have to have revenue of over $1 million to be in this membership. And there's like 1,000 of us plus in there. And everyone is contributing what they're seeing working in the market or whatever. And they're also talking about things that their kids like. And somebody mentioned like, oh, my kids love these scavenger hunt games where they get letters in the mail every month and it takes them on a scavenger hunt. And for those of you that have been around the ePrintables community for a while, we've been talking about those escape room games and scavenger hunts and how you can charge more for them. I thought I saw them going for like $15 each on Etsy. I'm like, wow, somebody who already sells those, like, could you just print them out and ship them to somebody? Or you could deliver it digitally and see if people like that, if that was enough. So there's so much you could do. I think the issue is like getting shiny object syndrome. And that's why in something like Beyond, and also getting somebody to validate whether it's a good idea or not, who's kind of like been there, done that. That's sort of the approach that we're taking there. Because I know for me, I get shiny object syndrome, information overwhelm when I have too many options. So that's kind of why we set it up the way we did with the target customer and then going through creating the landing page and then deciding, is your traffic going to be from blogging or social, picking one. Then there's exercises for blogging, there's exercises for social. We have a 30-day, if you do want to do social, we have a 30-day social media challenge starting off May 1st, because some of you do want to do social. And we're going to do that there. So we're going to go through the whole process. We also have, if you want to make money through affiliate marketing, but it's all woven in, customized to you so that you're not like picking random stuff. So it makes sense. So anyways, Melissa, thank you for letting me use yours as an example. I would love to talk about anyone else's example. So if you would like to specifically hear about what I would do if I was selling your stuff, feel free to leave a chat. This is your time to ask me any questions you want. And if anyone has any questions about Beyond, I'm here to answer it as well. I think I mentioned one of the first questions we got was regarding whether to keep creating your products or focus on your shop or to like learn this other stuff. The other question we got was just why in a membership format. And the reason that we're doing it like this is because we have had a lot of success with getting people to reach their goals in our VIP Printables membership. For those of you who did join, you know that you get lifetime access to that once you reach 100 sales. And people just go and they follow and they get it done. Whereas sometimes when you don't have that type of accountability, somebody is really excited about an idea. And I do this too, right? Like you just move on to the next idea 30 seconds later. And I know for me, I took a travel blogging course one time thinking, oh, I'm going to be a travel blogger and get all these paid comp trips. And it's nothing about the creator of the course. And the course was great. It's just life happened and I moved on. And there was nothing really to keep me like continuing to do that. So in the membership, like we have, like I said, 7 assignments that we want you to submit. And these assignments, like they're easy. These are not hard assignments. It's just kind of to keep you going through the process. And then we have prizes and gifts that you can win. So if you didn't join in the first minute, I mentioned like we have a new gift that we're giving out at Gold City Ventures. So this is an Erin Condren planner. It's her productivity planner. And everyone is going to get that in level 6, unless you've already got it through Gold City Ventures. But you write down your goals, projects, you set deadlines. There's a habit tracker in here. It's A5, so it can fit in a purse. You're going to automatically get this if you're in the membership when you reach level 6, which you do through engagement and asking questions and just like following along. You're going to make it there. You also get a free one-on-one call with Sasha. I know many of you know Sasha Hutchinson. She has over 20,000 sales on Etsy. She's a wealth of knowledge and she loves helping people. You will get a free call with her. And she's personally auditing all 7 of your assignments. Also, I'm in there commenting, making sure that I can provide as much value based on my experience. Melissa, your example with like the librarian stuff, people are posting that and I'm giving my thoughts on whether I think that's a good idea, how I would niche down, what I would look at, who the competitors are, because that's a big thing. I think Sasha, Cody, and I are really good at finding like, oh, hey, here's this, like, this should be your dream crush business for a librarian. Like, look how good they're doing. We don't want you to copy them, but here's how to like take what they're doing, take all the good stuff, apply your own twist and like go here. Cause this is showing in the market in the competitive analysis that this is a good direction to go into. That's kind of the value that Cody and I are providing in this community as well. And I should mention, we also have a personal life chat that we're doing. So if you'd like to join Beyond, if you join by the end of the hour, in 30 more minutes, we have a prize package if you want to sell a photography. If you want to get entry to win a photography package where a professional photographer photographs your stuff that can make your ads, that can make your listings convert more because they're using their lighting and it just looks amazing. We personally use this for all of our stuff, all of our ads now. The lifestyle photographer can also do those really cute social media lifestyle shots where they're like opening up their laptop or they're pouring coffee next to your product and they're like making the aesthetic vibes look good. It's not just like a boring photographer. Like this is somebody that has that eye to make things look really pretty and like nice. So it's a huge value if you want to join in the next 30 minutes. We're going to give some away. And like, we're just starting this community. So it's not like you're entering a sweepstake on the radio where there's like hundreds of callers. I mean, we're just starting off. So if you do join, there's a high chance that somebody's going to win. Probably someone watching right now. Okay. So we have some other people too. We have, let's see, Davita commented and said, I sell on PayHip with my own domain. I'm a graphic designer, so I sell digital branding templates in Adobe Illustrator and Canva. Okay, cool. So Davita, what I would ask you is for the customers you have already, what professions are they in? Digital branding templates, I would say, if you were in our VIP Printables program, I would tell you, you should create templates for realtors, templates for fitness gym owners, templates for anybody, teachers, whatever. But because you're going to be in the context of Beyond, you want to build a bigger business, I'm going to try to encourage you to pick 1 or 2 of those avatars. Like, have you noticed that, oh, actually, like the people that spend the most money with me are actually this particular profession? I'm going to lean into that. Like, for example, I think the realtor niche, it was really good back 2 years ago when everyone was buying houses. I think interest rates and the new NAR ruling, which if anyone hasn't been following, it has to do with commissions to realtors. There's a little bit less interest in people wanting to learn about being realtors, buying marketing for realtors. Still good interest. And I have friends that are doing well in this business. well, like seven-figure business. That being said, I think maybe some other niches might be better. Like, for example, the mental health therapist niche was really good about a year or two ago, like post-pandemic. I think there are some other niches now that are the equivalent of those niches where they were like, wow, these niches are awesome. But I would tell you, Davita, if you were taking VIP printables, I'd say do them all because you're trying to get and capture as many leads on Etsy and it's less important. If you are spending all this time building this whole ecosystem, investing in all this tech off Etsy, you want to be categorized in a certain niche because you want the person that your target buyer to look at this and be like, wow, this is me. And I think even if you're like, oh, female entrepreneurs, that's too generic. It has to be even more niche down. So I would ask you like, where are you getting to? Oh, beauty professionals and nail techs. Oh my God, Davita, you are the person that I was hoping would show up here. And this is hilarious, but I'm going to give you a tip that I gave to people and beyond that I think is like the best advice that no one ever takes. This is advice that I tell everybody, and literally not one person I've ever told has followed up on this. And I'm like, why? Why not? Okay. I'm so excited now. Two important pillars of advice for you, Davita. The first thing, and I think about this all the time. If you think about like these giant business owners that we know, right? Elon Musk, all these people. And then you think about smaller business owners. There's definitely personality differences too, but the big people are playing big games, huge games. And I was thinking about this too because recently I was featured in Entrepreneur as one of 3 female business owners. And while our business has done really well at Gold City Ventures, we're a 7-figure business. I was next to a $500 million business owner. And I'm like, wow, this woman, I don't even belong on the same page with this woman. She's like talented. She's so talented. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, I'm really good at this. Like, what's and I don't say that in a bad way, but I'm like, I'm hitting a point where I really enjoy what I'm doing, and I feel like it's aligned with my passions. And I have a background. I have over 10 years in this. I have a master's degree. Like, what's going on? And I'm like, she's playing a huge game, and the game she was playing was the beauty professional game. So she had a point of sale tech system for beauty professionals. And you guys know, anytime you've gone anywhere, like to get your nails done or whatever, like you're paying cash at the end, right? Like she had created a the iPad thing where you can check out. Maybe you go get your kid's haircut and you're checking out on an iPad now. She created that. Sold it for $500 million. And I'm like, wow, like there's people playing so much bigger games. I'm mentioning this to you because this lash tech beauty niche is like, this is it. That's a huge niche. I've known it for years. This is a great niche. I told someone, one of the best students that come out of ePrintables, I told her a long time ago, like, hey, like, focus on this. But here's specifically the issue. And Davita, you might tell me if this is right. Let's say that you are coming in, you have no audience. This is the advice I tell everyone that no one takes. You have no audience, right? You could go through this, make this whole business by yourself. If you are successful, you will get 100% of the profit to you. But you could speed up and go so much faster if you find out who are the top 3 IG influencers in the nail tech space. And I'm going to go reach out to them. I'm going to interview 3 of them. I'm going to have like casual calls like, hey, I'm starting this business. I want to do market research, whatever gets them on the phone. You pick whoever you jive with the most, and you and that person now start a business. You use Beyond. You're going to create that business with her. And she has the audience. She's got like 700,000 followers or whatever. Like that's the end game. And I say this all the time because with Etsy shops, it's really hard to do this by yourself. But you will see for every business that I do, I have a business partner. Like Cody Berman is my business partner. And I didn't know him before this. Like we just came together because we had these different skill sets and we joined forces. It's very unlikely that you will find me do a business entirely on my own at this point in my life. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. It's just, I can't. Like even scheduling a live stream, for anyone's wondering like where I've been the last year doing live stuff in our group, I had a 1-year-old. I missed the cutoff for the daycare and I had a nanny. She was going through some health challenges and I just couldn't commit to being at a certain place at a certain time. I could do things asynchronously at night, but I couldn't be like in a live stream. So anyways, my point of saying is like a lot of us have a lot going on in our lives. You can divide the work by 2. You could hire the wrong business partner and it could be a total disaster. But if you hire the right person. So anyways, my recommendation to you would be double down on this beauty professional thing. If you do Beyond, we have 4 templates. They're like Google Docs where we ask you these questions. We also teach you how to use Google Gemini, and you can pick ChatGPT if you prefer, but I find Google Gemini just easier I use it myself. Like it's just faster because I'm already logged into Google and I find it like more user friendly. So we'll teach you how to use Google Gemini so that you ask it the right questions, so that you figure out exactly like who the right people are to approach for this thing. And if you're like, hey, Julie, like again, like I'm saying, I mention this all the time. Nobody wants to take my advice. to find a business partner, which I totally understand. Like, and maybe in our group you can find somebody, but I just think that's like such a huge play. And then you can go out through the process of like what I said before. It might not be, it could be a subscription. I have a friend that does really well doing subscriptions for a specific target, like subset of business owner. It might be that you're just selling off of your IG. Maybe you want to like do social stuff and then they click the link in your bio and we teach you. So Shopify has a $5 per month thing. A lot of you guys might not know this, but let's say that you don't want to build a full Shopify blog and you're like, I don't want to create my own blog and I don't want to create a store. It's so overwhelming. You can pick like your 4 best products because most of us have a handful of products that sell anyways. It's not the whole thing. And you can just list those 4 in this like, it's called Link Pop thing in Shopify. And we teach you how to get all of that set up in the Beyond thing. So anyways, that's what I would do if I were you, Davida. I hope this is helpful. And sorry, I get super excited about business stuff and like people's scenarios. So thank you. Okay. And I'm going to put again in the chat if somebody, okay. You are also a Shopify partner. Oh, awesome. Okay. So you're already doing Shopify. And by the way, I'm putting the chat here. If anyone does want to join again, if you want the photography package. And by the way, I think Davida, they would still be able to create good stuff for you. Like they would film it at their laptop with their lighting and everything so that you could easily use that. If anyone wants to join Beyond, you get before 1, so the next 24 minutes, you're going to get entry to win that professional photography package. Okay. So let's see. Does anyone else want to put forward their niche or a potential niche? And I can more than help you like with what I've seen. Because with Davida, I know someone that they're very closely considering this. So I mentioned this because I mentioned before, like make sure you're playing a big enough game. The beauty professional game is like a big enough game. Whereas sometimes, people are picking a really tiny niche and it's like, oh, well, this is hard. This niche doesn't have a lot of spending power and people aren't spending a lot on it, but that niche is definitely a good one. So more than happy to give you more ideas in this. And particularly if you join Beyond, it's going to be there for you. And Sasha, I know, is super generous when it comes to this stuff too. Because for all these ideas, I mean, I have a million ideas, but I don't have tons of time to like pursue all these myself at this point. I get like more, my kicks are kind of packaging with the person with the idea that fits their life and everything like that's where I kind of get my high. Although I've been considering now that my childcare situation is more stable, I'm like, oh, like maybe I would do some sort of subscription, but I'm interested in more of the kid stuff because I know my daughter would get tons of value out of that. Okay, so does anyone else watching? We have a bunch of you watching. If you already have an e-commerce thing set up, if you sell on Etsy, like tell me what you sell. And here's your chance to pick my brain about absolutely anything. Or if you just want to talk about other stuff too, like if you want to ask me questions, like I mentioned, I'm getting a new podcast studio. I'm really excited about that. Just hired professionals to come and do a full build out for me because I want to start shooting more content and I want to start like clipping up stuff. And I want like Cody and I to be more in the same screen as we're doing stuff. So happy to answer questions on that. Happy to answer questions on like outsourcing in my life. I think that's something that I've been working on a lot lately, or just general trends in general. I mean, the position that we're at with Gold City Ventures, we see thousands of people that are starting Etsy businesses every single day. So we have a good sense of what's going on. And then I mentioned too, I'm in these other business communities where there's the bar, you have to have a certain level of business to get there. And they're sharing kind of what's going on from their lives and what they're seeing in trends and stuff. I mean, the biggest thing obviously is AI, which that's something that I use every single day. I use Google Gemini pretty much every single day. So if you're not using AI to that, it's not a bad thing. But there's some things that could probably help your business, just quick hacks that won't be distracting that will help you. So yeah. Okay, so it looks like I don't hear any more questions. So the last thing that I will say, thank you all who took the time to watch me. I'm a little rusty going live because it's just been so long. I feel like I've been lost in babyland, as I know many of you are. Lexi said, will you talk about outsourcing in your program? Yes, so we have a course called the Freelance Toolkit, which actually I feel like I should just show you guys the program. I feel that'd be easier. I'll share my screen in a second. But we have an entire course, Freelance Toolkit, where we teach you from 2 components. We teach you, let's say that you have a W-2 job or like you want to build a full-time income, but you're nowhere near there with your Etsy shop. It will take a while to build this ecosystem that I'm talking about in this call, but you could freelance to cover the income gap very, very quickly. And then you could freelance for the right people so that everything you learn adds a lot of value to your other business or collaborations adds to your business. So we have a whole course on that in there. And when I say whole course, let me show you exactly what these courses are. So I'm going to share my entire screen here. Okay, hopefully you guys can see. All right, here we go. Okay, so this is I hope that you can see it. This is the Beyond program. And what you're looking at is the community tab here where people can ask any questions, and we have it organized by live events, personal life, if you just want to talk about pets, kids, home repairs, anything. Because I think getting other small business owners' opinions on stuff, this is like way different than your average town mom's Facebook group or whatever. Like you're going to get very specific things because we're all business owners. We all approach things different but similar. So you're going to like that. We celebrate wins and then we also have a collaboration section. So if you want to, like we said, take up our advice to find your dream business partner, perhaps you can meet them here. In the classroom section, this is where I mentioned these are all actual courses. So we have over a dozen courses here. And when I mention, like, for example, the Blogging for Profit Hub, you can log in and we have all this stuff, lessons on the left, and we have videos on the right. Now, this may seem kind of overwhelming, but it's not going to be overwhelming because we have a order for you. So we have like, this is what we want you to do in part one. You're going to do this training. You're going to complete assignment two. Then you're going to move on here. You're going to do assignment three. Then you're going to do assignments four and five. And what is different about Beyond is that we have this gamification element where there's 9 levels. And if you engage and you submit the assignments, you're going to unlock additional content. So in level 3, all you have to do is get 20 points, which is like 20 likes on comments, which you can get. We have like a lot of people in this group, so you could leave a comment and like 20 people could like it very easily. And you're going to unlock the additional content, which means more courses if you want. You're going to get, if you get 65 points, you're going to get an audit of your business and you're going to get a competitor strategy audit. And then you're going to get your assignment 2 reviewed. You're going to get a one-on-one coaching call if you reach 155 points. And what I will say, the price of Beyond for the monthly price that it is right now, in 4 weeks, you should be able to get to this one-on-one coaching call with Sasha. Sasha charges over $100 an hour to talk to her. So you are getting basically the ability to meet with her plus all this other stuff plus like 12 courses for less than the price that you would be of talking with her. And by the way, she's has over 20,000 sales on Etsy. Was reviewing the audit that she just gave Naomi in our group, and it's just so spot on. And she pointed out like a competitor to Naomi for this new stuff she's doing that this person has like millions of views on Pinterest. And I'm like, oh, that's so dead on. Like, I'm so glad you shared that with her. And it's just like, it's a lot of value, I think. And I'm actually like, wow, this is a lot going on here. We also going to send you a gift in the mail if you get to level 6. So, I think in 4 weeks you can get pretty far here. And we promise you, like, it may seem overwhelming with all the courses, but everything is organized. And like today's Mindset Monday, we're going to do fun stuff to keep you accountable in that. Like the same strategy to help you guys reach your goals in Oh, let me stop screen. Sorry, guys. The same strategy that you would to reach your goals in ePrintables, we're going to use that to help you reach your goals here. Okay, so if I don't currently have an Etsy shop, where would I start? Okay, so you would still start in the same place as everyone else. So just even though you guys are coming in from all different places, we thought about it quite a bit and realized that actually, because we're like, oh, first we're going to have everyone do different paths. And we're like, no, everyone kind of needs the same thing, whether they have a product or not. They have to start with who the customer is that they're targeting. So we would take you through the same process that we take everyone. And I mentioned at the very beginning of this call, do you have a professional background or hobby to lean on? Are you getting traction somewhere? Which perhaps if you don't have an Etsy shop, you can't answer that question. But if you have like a social following, this is not required. But if you have a social following and you're like, oh, like every time I talk about this, I get a lot of likes, that's traction. Not necessary. Third thing is, do you have a passion? So for you, you're like, oh, if you don't have traction, if you don't have a professional background, perhaps you have passion to help a group of people. Then that passion is something that we would lean into for you. And then we would help you come up with, okay, what are products that competitors that are doing really well, serving people who have that same passion, what products are they selling? And then you'd come up with like a list of like 2 to 3 products, and then you would make those products. So if you do not have any products yet, that's okay. And in fact, maybe starting from scratch is sometimes easier because I can see if you have an existing product set, you might be thinking, oh, like these 3 sell the most, so I'm going to lean into that. But actually, like if you thought about it from scratch, you would serve a different audience. So I actually don't think that's a bad thing if you start that way. And then you're only making like 3 or 4 products instead of making like 100 or 200 or whatever, which a lot of people will do if they are trying to fill a shop. So that's how I would do it. And yeah, I'm more than happy if anyone has any more questions about the program or even just like ideas on what you would do next. I'm super happy to do that. Oh yes, here we go. Okay. Yes, nurses. Okay. So I got really excited about the beauty tech space. And by the way, Melissa, I am excited about librarians. My friend is a librarian. My sister-in-law is a librarian. But in terms of like niches that are good, nurse is also a niche that is good. And the reason, and by good, I mean like profitable niche. And not that librarian can't be profitable, but I mean like there's a lot. If you just take that nurse niche and you just go right down there, that's going to help define your whole business. So I would say for you, 13 years experience. Okay, that's your niche. Like, don't even start getting all distracted. Like, just pick nurse. We're going to go with it. And by the way, I'm giving you different advice. This is different. I'm talking about beyond. If you were like taking e-printables, the strategy for Etsy is different than the strategy for selling off Etsy. We don't believe in e-printables that you should niche down. You should sell 100 different things. And even if you're a nurse, you could sell mostly nurse and do other things. That's different. I'm talking about for beyond, where we're building this business that is off Etsy. Stick with nurse stuff. That way, if you decide that you're going to do a website, you decide you want to start social media, nurses are going to look at your stuff. People that want to buy gifts or whatever for nurses are going to look at your stuff, and it's just going to be so relevant to them, and they're not going to get distracted or click off, and they're going to want your products. So we would go through this exact process with nurse, the nurse target in mind, and we'd find you other competitors who are nurses that are doing really well, and you would tell me what your business goals are. Do you want a 7-figure business? Do you want a 6-figure business? Do you want just grocery store money? Like, you decide. And of course, like, everyone wants a $1 billion business, but realistically, if you're like, hey, I only have like 3 hours a week free, going for a 7-figure business is going to be a little bit more challenging, but not possible, not impossible. So then we would decide, like, based on what your competitors are selling, specifically what you should go and create your business around. And then now instead of being stressed out trying to find your niche or like thinking of 12 products, now you have a subset of products that you would be looking into. So I think that's a fantastic niche. Is anyone listening like, oh my gosh, I don't have a niche and now I'm panicking? Because that's okay too. Everyone, and by the way, you could figure this out. Like, maybe it's not necessarily a niche. Maybe it's more of like a target thing. Like, for example, and subscription is just one avenue, but there is this seller, I think she's the Magic Playbook or something, and she sells kid printables, and she sells printables. They run the gamut of what is going on with these printables, seasonal stuff. There's no real like niche. The only niche is just the customer, which is like somebody that wants new printables every single month that kids can use. And it's kind of like, I took it as parents that want to kill time, have their kids do something, which for me, I do use that. So I know for Thanksgiving, I wanted to, like, around Thanksgiving, right the day after, we do a cookie bake off in my family. And I knew we would have like a bunch of kids waiting for these cookies to bake. That would just be like running around the house, chaotic. So I printed out these like preschool packets to get everyone in my family, like my cousin's kids, they're all sitting down, they're doing these preschool packets and not running crazy while we're trying to like get these cookies going for them. So anyways, the Magic Playbook, that person is creating a solution for parents for 12 months out of the year that help them with that. So I think that's genius, right? And there's so many more applications. So if you don't have a niche, like, you don't have to like, I doubt this person. Maybe they're a teacher, but I doubt it. They're probably just like a regular person. At that age group, I mean, my daughter is like learning, she's numbers, letters, basic sounds, coloring shapes. Like, it's nothing that complicated. So you don't have to have like a huge professional background to figure that out. Okay, so Shannon has a dog blog and a second blog on houseplants. Oh, okay, cool. So obviously, I think you are aware that the pet parent niche is huge. So pet parent, great niche. House plant parent is also a thing. It's a whole thing on social media, if you haven't noticed yet, where people, they're like, oh, I don't have apartments of kids or dogs. I have an apartment full of my plants. And it's like a thing. So I think either of those niches are totally cool. And how I would approach it for you is I would look and see which one is going to have the greatest return on my time and what am I interested in. So if you're like, oh, actually, I love the dog stuff more, the plant stuff I just saw was a good niche, then that's a whole different story. If you're like, oh, like, actually, like, I'm super into the plants thing and all that. The plants, I kind of see maybe more applications on the dog side than I do on the plant side, because I don't think people buy as much stuff for plants every month. Whereas on the dog side, not only could you monetize with your own products or services and display ads, because I mentioned my own blog, my personal finance blog. I make at least $10,000 a year from display advertising, which is basically, I have a company, that a third-party network that just puts ads on my blog, and I get paid from eyeballs that see the blog, regardless of what the blog is about. I mean, I'm purposely doing it in a certain way to get the most money from that revenue. But anyways, you might already be doing that, Shannon. But if you're not, we could through in the blogging section, you could learn how to monetize through that. But also you can monetize through affiliate marketing. And I think pet parents spend a lot. Now, maybe I'm not as close to the house plant niche to know what other accessories people need. I have bought like cool vases and I was kind of into that hydroponic thing for a while. But if people with plants don't buy a lot every month, then it limits some of your revenue opportunities. Whereas you can imagine with your dog blog, you're like, hey, here's the absolute best dog treats. Here's my 12 days of Christmas dog treat package or, dog photography recommendation or whatever. You could do a lot more affiliate marketing stuff with the dogs. But that being said, it really depends. And house plants might be a little less competitive. I know the plants were really big during the pandemic, like that was a whole thing. So definitely we'd be looking at trends for the plants as well and see what's good for what trends. There's probably a lot more competition in the dog space. Your primary income is ads on the dog blog. Okay, who are you with? Are you with AdThrive or Mediavine? I am with AdThrive. I used to be with Mediavine. These are third-party networks for anyone who's listening, and they do all the ads for you. And you basically, like, the strategy is you're going to talk about things on the blog that a lot of people search for, and you're going to bring as much traffic as possible to there, and you're going to get somebody scrolling down that post as long as possible, still getting the value of what they wanted to get out of the post, but you having them see as many ads. And by the way, you can do more or less ads. They're going to put the maximum ads on your site, and then you can pare it back and say, oh, I don't want ads on these posts, or I don't want it to be too spammy, which I think a lot of bloggers do end up paring back. But we have information on how I do that for Millennial Boss there. And it sounds like, okay, Shannon's Mediavine. Yeah, so it sounds like Mediavine you would do. Now, the cool thing about, I think Mediavine might actually just lowered some of its requirements. I think you had to get 30,000 sessions a month, and I think they're now 10,000 sessions, which is a lot more achievable for somebody who's starting out that may not already have a blog. But display advertising is a great way to further monetize. And as you can see, when I'm talking about beyond, right, like we started with just Etsy shops, but now I'm talking about the entire ecosystem that you would be building around this. So you get the products, and I think people are saying, oh, well, I'm already spending so much time on my Etsy business and creating all these products. Well, you're going to replace some of that time. And like, actually, that's been the biggest thing for people who've already joined Beyond. That has been maybe the biggest thing that I've been trying to like self-correct is that they want to continue to list a bunch of products. But actually, I want them to figure out what the like 4 products that they should have are, and the bigger products that they're going to be able to charge more for that like really fit that target customer. And then we're going to start to build out the ecosystem, the traffic, the email series, all that around those 4 products versus like, hey, every week I have to list 5 products, because that's the way that you build the Etsy shop, but that's not necessarily the way that you're going to grow the full-time income with a business that's like around like dogs or houseplants or whatever we're talking about. So anyways, okay. Does anyone else, I think this is like really fun. I love doing this kind of off the cuff stuff. I will go into some of the things I've seen for Shannon, but while I'm doing that, if anyone would like to throw out their niche or a niche, and I'll give you some ideas. So Shannon, just a couple things with the dogs. What I would ask you is, what is your thing with the dog? So we do have a friend, Kristen Larson. She has a course. It's like how to start a dog treats business. And in the dog space, I have seen Facebook and Instagram ads be the way that people grow there. And I don't want to say it's easy to target a dog owner, but like compared to me trying to find somebody that wants to sell on Etsy or whatever, that's a very specific person. I'm throwing a dart at a bullseye, right? Whereas if you are trying to, find someone that has a dog, there's a lot more people that have dogs in the US or whatever country that you're advertising in. It's just going to be easier. So anyways, I have seen a lot of people grow their businesses in the dog space via advertising. And I don't think you'd have to spend that much. And it may not. And by the way, 99% of what we would recommend and beyond includes no paid ads. But I'm saying particularly in Shannon's situation, because she already has traction with the blog and she is in the dog space, I think that could be a good route to consider. Your best posts are dog treat recipes. Yeah, I'm not shocked by that. And I know for my sister, so she has a golden retriever. She has a English cream golden retriever. She loves her dog. She goes to like dog meetups and stuff where she hangs out with like 50 golden retrievers at once and their owners. It's like totally nuts and adorable. But I tend to buy her a lot of gifts in the dog space, and I'll get her I bought her last year an advent calendar for her dog. And there's just so much you can do there. So like I guess what I'm saying to you is if you're not doing this already, like applying the seasonal element to this, you could do if you're like, hey, I have no interest in doing a dog treats business, affiliate marketing for a more established dog treats company, you could do that. You could create your own like other resources, ebooks or whatever. We're really trying to encourage people not to do courses. We think that in the e-commerce space, sticking with e-commerce, sticking with something easy and not like focusing on a knowledge play is a good idea. But if you were a dog trainer, that would be totally different, right? But if you're just more in the dog lover space, gifting, I would look at gifting for dog owners, and also like dog treats, healthy, holistic stuff. That seems to be what's trending. But again, in Beyond, we would look up specifically for you, like what's out there for competitor analysis so that you would have an idea of the potential before creating any of this stuff. Because just like when you're doing an Etsy shop, you would look up on eRank what the search volume is and all that. For this type of business, for selling off Etsy, you would have to do those same searches off Etsy before you commit to anything because you wouldn't want to waste your time. Not a trainer, just a dog lover. Okay, cool. I'm a dog lover as well. I have a giant dog. Not sure. I did the wisdom dog DNA test. I'm not sure what he is, but we love him. Barks a lot though. Surprised he's not barking now. Okay, so I just want to mention, I'm going to end this soon. If you did want to join Beyond and get the photography package, you only have 4 minutes. Even if you're like, oh, I'm not exactly sure. So if you click the link I sent, I'm going to send it again. If you're on the About page, you will see I do a video again of like what exactly is in Beyond, and then you'll see Sasha, who's our head coach. But I'm in there too, and Cody. So we're both going to be in there helping you guys. But if you did want to win the photography package, which, by the way, Shannon, like you can imagine, you would ship your whatever products, if you have one, you would ship it to the photographer. And then if you win, and then they would film it all. And this is a couple $100 package. Like all the ads and everything for Gold City Ventures are all professionally filmed right now. And it just makes you breathe a sigh of relief when you're like, oh, I don't have to go on social. I have, my Shopify site or whatever you decide to do. It looks so professional. Also, I want to mention, some people were saying that they're overwhelmed by having to create their own Shopify store or whatever if they want to sell off Etsy. You don't have to do that. Like you can take these same principles and you can just link to your Etsy shop. So I link in the course to someone, I think she's a crocheter quilter type crafty person. She created a blog, but she just links to her Etsy shop and she doesn't go the approach of like, oh, I want to create a e-commerce solution off Etsy. So that's an option if you're like, oh, I'm just overwhelmed. But the same strategies apply. Like you're figuring out your target customer, you're driving traffic from a blog or social media account to there, and you're growing that like awareness around your brand and your business. But you could still include Etsy because some people are like, I just literally can't handle it. So anyways, okay, I want to mention there's only 3 minutes left to join with the package. I really believe that this marketing package can help you. So if you're like even on the fence, you're going to be kicking yourself. Also, I will mention that the price of Beyond goes up. Even if you don't want to join before the package, you have a week and a day to get it at the lower price. And then we're going to raise the price up by $30 per month. And that is definitely happening on May 1st. So April 30th would be the last time that you could get in at this price. And to be honest, like the price is not going to be going down because this type of business consulting package is, Sasha charges over $100 per hour. I don't even do this anymore, but the last time I charged 5 years ago was like $125 per hour. I would probably not meet with someone for, I don't even do one-on-ones, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I love like helping a lot of people in this format, and this is what's fun to me. So this is the way if you like the style of Gold City Ventures, like if you did take ePrintables and it worked for you, we've designed Beyond to also work for you in that same way. And it's just super fun. It's a great group in there. The focus is entirely different than ePrintables. You're learning new stuff. And like I said, for the cost, if you wanted to book like a one-on-one with Sasha, if you wanted to, you'll automatically get this gift in the mail, which is the Erin Condren, like really fancy productivity planner. You will get an audit of like all the stuff that I'm talking about, like you're, creating the email list, all that. We will audit every single piece to make sure that you're going in the right direction based on what we see from the market analysis. So that's all going to be in there. And I think you can get there in 4 weeks. So if anyone's like freaking out about that element of it, like there's a lot of value in there. In that 4 weeks. And, if you want to stay, we have the challenge coming on in May, which we know people they reach their goals more when they're held more accountable to the challenges. So we're like, hey, this format makes a lot of sense for getting people the best results that they want, and it's locked in, so you're not going to be like wondering what you do. And if you ever have any questions, the difference here is that you can DM the coaches here. So we don't allow DMs in the Gold City Ventures Facebook group, but in Beyond you can. So there's only, like you said, it's 59:23 here. You got like 40 seconds if you want to join. So click that link if you are interested, and we would love to have you in Beyond. And if you've already joined Beyond, like, thank you. I know I saw a couple people come through during this live. Like, we're so glad to help take you to the next level in your business. I promise you, this is going to be so much fun, and I just can't wait. Like, this is brand new for us, so we're going to be putting like so much value to make sure that you guys get the best results here, because this is brand new, and I just feel like we're going to pour as much into you as we can, because we want you to get there, and it really is exciting to see that. So thank you everybody who joined tonight. For everyone that's joining, or today, whoever was joining Beyond, like, I cannot wait to help you. And if you have any questions on Beyond, you can email us, team@goldcityventures.com at any time. Thank you everyone. Have a great day.